Welcome to MCR. Before we start the show, we want to quickly give our prayers, our condolences, our thoughts to the Foreman family and the Plant family. Frida Foreman, the daughter of George Foreman, passed away, and the mother of Caleb Plant, Beth Plant, was tragically murdered. So just our thoughts, prayers, and condolences for those two women and their families in the boxing world, and a brief moment of silence for them.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down. He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, drop that 5-star review on iTunes. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Obviously, it is sort of a weird intro to the show, Rob. I know, like you said the comment. I'm not going to repeat the comment, but you said the comment like it's a hard intro to sort of come into. And I understand, and we just sort of have to move on. Want to at least give that mention to those two families in boxing, two families that definitely matter. I mean, obviously, the Foreman family is legendary in this sport. Caleb Plant, I think, has obviously endeared himself to the boxing community, so at least wanted to do that brief moment of silence for those families. And again, put it out of the way, get it done in the beginning, and move on to the boxing topics of the day, which include, obviously, Shawn Porter, Yordenis Ugas, Dmitry Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr., and I have to admit, before we get to anything, Gary, you were very close to being right. Oh, my God. Your upset pick on Ugas almost became reality. Plus a ton of other topics and minor subjects to get into. Adam Kownacki now testing the free agency pool, as most of the heavyweight division is at this time. Eddie Hearn having a bunch of comments from all over the place, from Gervonta Davis offer for the Tevin Farmer fight. Him coming out talking about the Wilder AJ fight. A ton of stuff to get to, dissect and break down, especially since we've been gone for so long. And I know we haven't done a show in some days, so because of that, there's a new section on our YouTube channel called the Patreon Free Preview. We have released over a dozen Patreon podcasts, full podcasts, and shows to you guys. So if you guys want extra content, because we were gone for a few days, there's plenty of content there from talking about boxing, pop culture topics, whatever it may be. But digress from all of that, the Joker to my Batman, what else? I was gonna go like maybe like the John Bonham to my Plant, the Alfred to my Batman as well, Mr. Robbie Hearn, second cousin, twice removed of Eddie Hearn. You look very, very upset about both of those comparisons. The first one I legit thought of before the show. The second one totally off the cuff. But anyways, Rob, how you doing?
The drummer. I'm the fucking drummer. Get out of here.
But whoa, we have to admit here, John Bonham is probably one of the most legendary names of Led Zeppelin. Maybe because he died.
Probably one of the best drummers of all time, but
yeah, and you're upset?
I couldn't be Jimmy Page.
I feel like we give that to Foo. Give him something.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
I'm nearly in Charles Martin's frame of mind right now. Oh no, that'll be the wrong one.
No.
Hang on, I got it.
Fuck that shit. Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
But take out boxing with MCR.
yeah. Fuck Matt. No. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Obviously, condolences to the families mentioned before, the Foreman family, and obviously Caleb Plant. But yeah. So prayers to everybody. But yeah, weekend of fights to catch up on. Bunch of news. Obviously, we've been away. Matt had to look after his child. There was no one else around to help out with that, where there normally is someone to watch the kiddo. But
yes, no babysitter this weekend. Shout out to that. That was fun.
I had other shit going on when the day that pay-per-view news was breaking, Wilder signing to the Zone. I was pissed. I was really pissed. Shout out to this.
At least we did a show. At least we put out a show for that one, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same, was it?
I mean, Rob, if you want, we can definitely circle back to that sometime in this show if you want to, and give your thoughts, give your take on it, because I know that's something that you probably want to talk about.
We're kind of going to bring up, obviously, interest in Kownacki, and we can circle back in all this DAZN trying to pick up everybody, and obviously ESPN involved, but just get into it because we got like a bunch of stuff to do. But obviously the fights, if we're gonna
let's get into the fights first because it is now Tuesday. The fights happen Saturday, so I feel like we have to get into it, especially just because. Look, I mean, I was absolutely wrong about this fight. Talking about the Shawn Porter Yordenis Ugas fights first. Starting with that card first. I thought Porter was going to just run away with this fight. I've never been impressed with Ugas, even in sort of step-up fights, like the Thomas Dolome fight, for example. I've never been impressed. He impressed me in this fight, though. Like, his ability to really negate a lot of that aggression and combinations of Porter was impressive. Like, again, I didn't think Ugas had that level of head movement, just his defensive ability. I just never saw that in him throughout his career, to be honest, at least at this level. And this fight, I did not score it. I'll be completely honest because I just did not care to score it. And the second time I tried to watch it, shout out to this card being very, very late. And I should say the card being very late. This fight being very late and starting actually when the telecast ended. And so on my recording, I only got to round 7. So when I went back to watch it after it being live, I only got to round 7. And get this, Rob, this is a great one. I went to Fox Sports Go, right, their streaming app. And it stops when the telecast stops. So I don't even get the fight at all on the streaming app. Shout out to Fox Sports. Definitely should fix that shit. So even on the rewatch, I haven't been able to score the whole fight. This fight is close, though. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ugas was robbed. And let's be honest, if people haven't listened to this show for any period of time, you should know I'm never one to throw out that term. So this is not a robbery to me. Very controversial, very close. Can definitely be argued either way. I could definitely see a draw in this fight as well. But beside that, more from a technical aspect, I thought neither guy was really efficient in this fight. Neither guy really got going in any significant way. I think both guys struggled to land clean shots in this fight. And I think neither guy was really inclined to get into a firefight. And I think either one sort of needed to get to that fight in order to be decisive. There needed to be some more clean engagements, and there really wasn't that in this fight. Rob, I want you to get your thoughts about this main event, and it was on ITV, was it not? Or am I wrong about that?
I caught up with it via someone kindly posting it in other areas. I don't think it was. I don't think it was on ITV, this one. But we're good.
Illegal streaming, Rob.
I didn't stream it.
Watching on playback is still streaming. It's not live.
It's not live streaming. No. Yeah, no, but we're getting Spence Garcia for free, so I'm not going to complain about ITV not picking up Porter and Ugas. But yeah, close fight. I definitely wasn't in quite your camp as far as like Porter making this a breeze, but I thought Porter would maybe come away with it, possibly, maybe not get the upset. But I felt Ugas did shade it. with or without it being the knockdown. I don't know if you've seen it, Matt. Like I say, you were caught out. So I believe it looked like a glove landed and he went down. So technically, I think it is a knockdown, but the referee deemed it. He possibly looked like he slipped in like water from the corner or something. But either or, I mean, I don't know how the letter of the law goes, but it looked like a shot landed and he went down. So I don't know. But for me, despite that, I felt Ugas did actually shade it. I think if he'd have cut out all the almost showboating and the silly taunting of Porter and actually threw a few more hands, he could have maybe, in my eyes, got it more convincingly. But as soon as it said a split decision, you kind of feel like, did he do enough to the old saying, like, you've got to snatch it away from the champion? You've really got to.
I don't think it fundamentally was that. I think the reason why people, maybe the judges, including even me, like I was giving probably something closer rounds to Porter. I thought Ugas was having a lot of trouble in getting inside, sort of hunting Porter down. The moments he did succeed on that, he was obviously quite efficient in it. But those moments were fewer and far in between. He had actually more success in this fight countering Porter on his entries. When Porter would try to dart in with his combination, Ugas would counter him quite efficiently, and that's where I think he got a lot of his points, got a lot of the rounds, so to speak, that he won. And I think Porter's ability, and this is probably, I think, as somebody in the chat who was saying, like, has Porter regressed in his boxing ability? I don't think that's the case. I think this is just a hard style matchup for Porter because he can't bully Ugas. He couldn't bully him, so Porter had to be a back foot defensive boxer darting in and out with combinations. And that is sort of a newer wrinkle to his game. I think he's better at that than he was in the past. However, I still think he struggled in that. I think Porter has really never been the most accurate puncher. So if he's trying to be an accurate, darting in and out boxer that's really based off of his speed and athleticism, you need to be accurate to do that. And he wasn't. He was missing a lot of those shots. And Ugas was catching him on counters. Every time Porter would come in wide, Ugas would throw straight shots. Every time Ugas would come in wide, Porter would land straight shots. It was a very fun fight. I like that. I like the fight itself. I don't think it's fight of the year or anything like that. But in terms of a stylistic matchup and seeing somebody struggle, I like that. I like seeing Porter struggle in a fight that I did not see being a struggle. And plus, now we have Ugas, I think, as a legitimate contender in this division. He went, in my mind, from being still a top 10 commodity, but one that would get washed by the top guys to, oh no, he could beat some of these guys. Like Danny Garcia versus Yordenis Ugas. I might pick Ugas in that fight, for example, right? Like that might not have been the case pre-Saturday night.
Welcome to mine, Gary's, and quite a lot of other people's clubs, Matt. Welcome aboard.
Don't say yours, okay? You jumped on it late too. Okay, stop. This is Gary's club. Let's give all the respect to Gary. He's been calling and talking about Ugas for fucking months, man. Okay.
Yeah. I scored it maybe 7-5 Ugas, or I can see a draw. Again, like not robbery or anything like that. It's close rounds. As usual, close rounds. You could see some maybe give it to Porter, whereas others maybe gave it Ugas, and vice versa. So
it's a hard fight to score too. I would say it's a very hard fight to score.
Yeah. I just thought Ugas did some of the cleaner work, and I don't know. I just felt he slightly shaded it. I didn't actually score it. I didn't jot it down, but I kind of, like 1-0, 2-0, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like that. But I'm not like disgusted by it. I'm not pissed off by it. It's a shame for like Ugas when he obviously felt he did win it. He put the video up of the knockdown and saying this is clearly a knockdown. Some have said, yeah, but it was like an open-handed shot on the back of the head, and look, the first knockdown in the Fury fight was kind of on the back of the head, but we've not like raised that as a big flagging point. Like,
no, it should be a knockdown.
We all looked at Fury got knocked down twice in the fight, so we see these shots happen, and I think only when it's super controversial, like people are like, oh, but that wasn't a knockdown because it was this, that, and the other, and get super technical on the issues. But no, I thought it was a fun fight. But yeah, Porter matches on. I don't know if I know Thurman's looking at Pacquiao, but I think we're going to be looking at Porter Thurman. at some point soon. I don't know. But.
I don't know. I think obviously this weekend's a big fight, depending on the business of the welterweight division, right? Like this coming up fight determines how all these matchups are made, what platform they're made, what sort of paywall is up for these fights, right? With a Pacquiao fight, I think going forward, no matter what it is pay-per-view, being honest. But if Spence is, let's say, is successful on pay-per-view, then I think Al Heyman, PBC, and company, they have a lot more options to make with big fights in this division. And we might see some clever matchmaking, I don't know. But I think, probably speaking, Pacquiao Thurman's pretty obvious right now in my mind. I think Spence is probably going to fight Shawn Porter, and Danny Garcia is going to take a couple tune-ups. I think that's probably the safe bet.
I mean, apparently Floyd's back sparring, so who knows what's going to happen there.
Let's not talk about that. And moving on, I really don't have much to say about the Francisco Santana Abel Ramos fight, other than it was a fun back and forth fight with two guys that are top 20, top 30 names. Kind of what I expected, right? And
yeah.
I
was going to say, going into it, I was like, who? What is this? Why is this the televised? And then I looked at on BoxRec who these guys have fought and who they've had losses and who they've actually been. I thought, oh, this could be a fun fight, and it turned out to be a pretty good, good fun fight. So
it's a good scrap. Neither guy's gonna be a champion, but good scrap. I want to give that to them at least.
That's what I like sometimes. Like people look at it, like I mean, I did and thought, who are they? But I didn't instantly go, oh, what a shit card. It's like sometimes they don't have to be world champions. They don't have to be lineal champions. They don't have to be pound for pounders. You can get two guys at a similar level that you end up getting a real fun fight, a good entertainment to watch.
Yes.
Kind of like you weren't a big fan of the DAZN card with Brandon Rios and Sota. I get your reason behind it, but watching it, it was a fun fight. It was
no. I mean, that's a pretty good comparison to this fight, even though I would say the Rios Soto fight is worse because they're both far older gentlemen.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I think, because you said like this fight being what it is doesn't make this card not good. I would still argue this card isn't a great card. This card is pretty weak and pretty thin, similar to the DAZN card. And again, we can have good, entertaining scraps that are meaningless, but they are meaningless. And the big moments of the sport that we are looking for are meaningful. So that just will always be the situation here,
Yeah,
regardless of who the promoter is. That's sort of my point.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it, but I just feel like we can't have meaningful moments every Saturday.
Oh, of course. And especially with the new oversaturation of the market. The amount of cards that all these promoters have to put on. We're going to get thin cards. We're like Shawn Porter, who is an elite fighter, is on top of it. But the rest of the card, not so much. I mean, think about it. There's no contender-level fight on this card, right? There's no fight on this card between two top 10 names fighting for a number one contendership. There's no secondary champion fighting on this card. There's nothing of that sort of mid-tier, right below the elite level that you're looking for to sort of beef up a card, add some depth to it. It's a big drop-off from a Shawn Porter Ugas fight, which isn't even the greatest. Turned out to be much more competitive and fun than we thought going into it, but on paper it wasn't, to a Santana Ramos fight. And then even a bigger drop-off to an F.A. Agaba fight versus Amir Mansour, which we can get to now. Again, the card, not the greatest. These are the only fights we're really going to talk about, but F.A. Agaba, goddamn, man. He is something special. And we're going to talk about Daniel Dubois later as well. I think F.A. is clearly raw in a lot of ways. Clearly needs a lot more fights under his belt. In my opinion, probably another 10 more fights before he really fights, let's say, the Takums, the Chisoros of the world. You know what I mean? Like real, the high-level gatekeeper, so to speak. He's going to need a lot more names under his belt, a lot more work under his belt before he gets there, because he is defensively flawed. He is, I would say, he reminds me of Ryan Garcia, where like offensively, I can see the talent. I can see the gifts. I can even see like the fundamental technique there, right? Like, I think FA's punches are straight, crisp, fundamental, but defensively, he struggles. I just think that will always be an issue unless he fixes that, and obviously he's young, so hopefully he does fix that. And quickly, people were saying that I'm sticking up for PBC. I literally just said this card wasn't good. Right, Rob, am I missing something here? Like, oh God, the chat's so weird.
You did say it wasn't great.
Yeah, and
even the main event wasn't great. You said.
Yeah, main event wasn't great on paper. It turned out to be a far more competitive, interesting main event than what we thought. But no, I mean, people in the chat, come on, it's weirdos. Anyways, Rob, your thoughts on Efe Agaba putting it on him, Amir Mansour, and finishing him within 2 rounds?
Yeah, I think they just maybe wanted him to get some rounds. I think they felt Amir Mansour would be tough and put up a bit of I don't know, who could we think, sort of a Stavern sort of punching bag, but be pretty solid and not go down or quit on your stall or anything like that. But yeah, no, he's like you say, going forward, he looks legit. He looks powerful, sort of athletic, and all the good things you want. But yeah, there's obviously a lot to fine tune. But look, he's young. But yeah, maybe I don't know what they would deem for next, because Mansour's somewhat of a name. So do they need somewhat of a name next, or is it back to guys that we kind of go, So I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of those guys out there. The sort of names that that looks good on the record. That's some kind of like litmus test that we can see. But no, I think he's the goods and definitely one for the future. Yeah, he's possibly Shelley Finkel's best heavyweight. I had to.
Anyways, I'm not gonna deem that with the response. Let's go to the DAZN card. Unless you have any other thoughts on this PBC card.
No, I believe I sent the numbers. I can't remember what it did. 1.6 average. 1.6
yes, 1.63 million average in terms of the telecast. I think it's a pretty good number. Not anything great, but it's good.
I don't know what this actually means, but it was the lowest rated show on the network or something. I don't know quite. If you look at, I don't know what that means, whether that's some standout point that Dan Rayfield was making, or whether that's kind of standard for boxing.
Well, I don't
TV anyway.
I don't understand what that means. The lowest rated show. Like what do you mean the lowest rated show? The lowest rated show of the night? The lowest rated boxing show on Fox, which isn't true. Because last September we had one that did like 1 million views, the Devin Alexander one. So I don't know. Even the last one didn't do as good as this one. The Leo Santa Cruz one, that one only did like 1.4 million, something like that.
It said it was the least viewed program on network television on Saturday night.
I think it's trying to mean the big four. So that would be ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC.
Okay.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
Be clearer, Dan.
Yeah, that just sounds like some Dan hate. God. Dan's a weirdo, man. Anyways, digressing from that. Let's get to this DAZN card. Dmitry Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. A really dominant performance, in my opinion, from Dmitry Bivol. I thought he basically won every single round of this fight. Though Bivol's an interesting sort of fighter in my mind, because clearly he is the most fundamentally sound boxer or champion in that division. I feel like that's obvious. However, he doesn't really have the most power. He still doesn't have the best lateral movement. He is really good at judging distance and going back and going straight and back. Right? He is really great at that. Sort of like Earl Spence, Mike Garcia, even an AJ in that way. Laterally speaking, that's not them. They're not a Laura. They're not a Mayweather. They're not Pernell. They're not moving laterally around the ring. They're moving back and forth, judging distance quite well. On top of that, I wouldn't say that he's not flashy, because there's times where he does throw really neat counters. I'm like, ooh, that's nice. Like there's a few uppercuts he landed throughout the night that I'm like, oh wow, okay, like that was not like I want some more of that. I want some more creativity with his boxing, but I mean the guy is so fundamentally sound. He just dominated Joe Smith Jr. I mean, can I really criticize this performance? It's hard. I feel like it's being hypercritical, and I've always been, in my opinion, sort of addressing my own biases, really hypercritical of Bivol. Like I've always sort of questioned him, so I don't know if that's playing into it. But this was a dominant performance. I did not expect it to be this one-sided and also to look this easy. Bivol might just outbox everyone in this division.
Yeah, he was on point. He really was. But I felt Joe Smith landed quite a few times just on the bow, after the bow. I think it was at the 11th round. He actually rocked Bivol and he kind of used the ropes to walk back to the corner, but the legs were a little weary. But it was almost semi sort of Triple G-esque. He looks like completely inside, and he seemed to just sort of almost like shake it off. All right, I'm good. Let's go. And I just feel I was listening to shout out. I really enjoy it actually. Chris Mannix podcast, and he had Sergio Mora with him. I think it was. He was saying he felt Bivol maybe sort of similar. I guess it's sort of similar to like Andre. It hasn't quite got that almost like killer instinct. Like he could have, like he felt he could have pressed the gas and like kind of gone for like a highlight reel. Like
he could have
stopped it.
He could have. Look at the 12th round. I mean, that final 10 seconds, he unloads on Joe Smith, right? And Joe Smith shows up. Yeah. Like he could have got the finish. I think the Andrade comparison is a really good one because of that lack of a killer instinct. I think it's an obvious.
Happy to box someone's head off,
Yes.
And if you want people to catch hold and like jump on board and become a fan, get a fan base and sell fights, be a ticket seller, and this you want to maybe do things in a slightly more pleasing fashion. Not that, don't get me wrong, I appreciate everything he done in the ring, but 99% of people want to see someone get smacked in the jaw and they go down, So that would be my own, not criticism, but my only sort of thing to say. Let's see, obviously as because people were saying he's going to be in like potentially tougher fights. Joe Smith, durable guy, but not the greatest skilled boxer. He can crack and all that. But you showed the talent to completely outbox him and, like you say, basically win every round. Let's see you make an opening and make, and really put a hurting on and, maybe finish off a guy. But because he struggled with Chalumba and who else was it? I can't remember, but he's sort of gone the distance with a few guys when, and we're hearing this sort of super hype around him. And I can see the hype, he looks, like you say, very skilled, but let's see some finishes and stuff like that. Let's see a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of panache on the end of some of this.
Panache.
Word of the day. Yeah, toilet paper.
I was about to say that.
But yeah, no, a great performer. He was great and everything, but I'd just like to see him maybe put the foot to the gas a little bit and try and get some guys up out of there. But
so, what do we want now from Bivol? Do we want him to stay at 175 and try to unify in that division? I know he's been talking about going down to 168, fighting Callum Smith. What do we want? What do you want? Sort of give your thoughts on what's next for Bivol.
Well, as far as competition on DAZN, there isn't anyone, right? There just really isn't anybody for him to match up against. Not of any great that's going to set the world alight, I don't think. I mean, Callum Johnson won on the card, and he said he'd like to face the winner of the main event. Sorry, Callum Johnson. Did I say Johnson?
Yeah, you said Johnson. You said Johnson. I'm just shaking my head saying I don't want that.
No, I was thinking, did I say Smith? Because obviously he's in the mix if he drops down to 168. But yeah, Callum Johnson threw his name in the hat. Also, Kovalev, off the back of that, said he wants to unify against Bivol next. Don't know how that's going to work because I think he's got some kind of fight by fight or some kind of options on him at ESPN. And obviously, Bivol's with DAZN. So see on that one. But I think we're going to see him drop down. Whether it's the next fight, I don't know, but I think we're going to see. There's been a lot of talk about it. He's mentioned it. There's Callum Smith there and things like that. So,
and plus, obviously, the amateur rivalry that they had, the Olympic sort of rivalry that they had. Yeah.
So that's already like a storyline waiting to happen. It's just so I don't think he's like the biggest like heavyweight, stature and size, height, and everything like that. But obviously, he's got the skills to carry it off. And from what I've heard, he hits plenty hard enough. It's just maybe doesn't quite go for the kill and stuff like that. But at 168, I think he could be a bit of a monster. But I know Callum Smith's obviously massive for the weight, but I think generally someone like a Bivol at 168 could be a bit of a monster in that division. Quite a scary proposition for people in that division. But
absolutely agree.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Bivol could. I mean, I might walk back a lot of my criticism of Bivol because he might reign over 175. Like if he, let's say hypothetically speaking, he can unify against all these champions right now, right? Like let's say the next 3 fights are against Kovalev, Beterbiev, and who am I forgetting? God. Vajdic, thank you. God, why am I forgetting Vajdic? That was such a great win against Adonis. Bivol might beat them all. I would say the only one that gives me concern is Vajdic. Like that right now is still really 50-50, but I think Bivol beats Kovalev right now. I think he beats Beterbiev. I've always thought that. That's the funny part about Bivol. He doesn't need to go to 168 to make good fights, big fights, and unify the division. He might have to because of just network allegiance, unfortunately. Because I do think at 175, those are more interesting fights. Plus, I think Callum Smith, he's moving up soon. So something like that fight, it can't happen in the near future. It will, but I think it's better if it was to happen at 175. And plus, I really want some Russia versus Russia violence. I really want me some Kovalev Bivol, some Bivol Beterbiev. Like, come on. We've had these Russians come in here and tear us apart for like 20 years now, ever since Andrew Galata. Okay, like it's time they fight each other. Okay, we never got Triple G Pirog. Like we never had the Klitschko's versus each other. We need some Russian versus Russian violence at the very top. That's all I'm saying. Any last thoughts about Bivol, or do you want to go to the co-main event?
No, we can move on.
Maurice Hooker versus Mikhail Lespierre. I thought this was a pretty boring fight. I'll be honest. I thought Hooker just sort of phoned it in a little bit. Like I feel like when Hooker at round 3 or 4 realized, I can just do this, rinse and repeat over and over again, put in minimal effort. I had a bad weight cut, and I'll just get through this fight. I think that's what happened here. I think he outboxed Pierre. I think he was the heavy hitter. He was the more fundamental guy, and Pierre was just walking in his shots. It was just, again, sort of a boring fight. The activity level was very low for both guys. I have nothing really good to say about this fight, especially when Hooker was on such a good tear recently with good performances, good wins. We did not need this one. This really, not necessarily hurt his stock, but it definitely stopped his stock from rising or continuing to rise, and now it sort of has stagnated in a way. Rob, your thoughts on this co-main event?
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't the greatest spectacle. I think rumor has it that Hooker on the day of the weigh-in was 5 pounds over and had a shit ton of cutting to do before he even stepped on the scale, which he ended up being like 0.5 over. And then he tried again, was 0.25. He I think believed to have quoted to people in the room, I took a shit, I've took a piss, I can't do it anymore. He proper struggled. And he said it's no problem. It's just he fucked up. It's not normally an issue making the weight. He's a big guy, he's tall for the weight. I don't know if that's a genuine, I think a lot of fighters say, nah, man, I can do it. It's easy. No, I can make the weight, no problem. But we start seeing patterns at times. So hopefully in the next fight, he's absolutely on point, comes in, weighs in, goes and fuels up again, and it's all good. But yeah, it was pretty flat. I felt he wasn't all there. I think Lespierre was kind of a tough guy in a way, but didn't really have a lot to offer as far as making the fight really competitive. Just his toughness and he'd take a few heavy shots and then you think, oh, he's hurt him, and then he'd come firing back with his own few shots. So he kind of made it semi-fun at times in those moments. But yeah, it was like you say, kind of rinse and repeat. It wasn't blown away by Hooker in this one. When before, yeah, he obviously DAZN lost the purse bid, or Eddie lost the purse bid, and he went over to ESPN, and it was like, oh God, he hasn't even fought on DAZN yet, and he could lose the bout, and come back without it. But he went over there, done a job, and it's like, right, on DAZN, let's see. And it was kind of a flat performance. The weigh-in obviously was terrible, but I believe he's getting a homecoming fight in Dallas or somewhere in Texas in his next one. But yeah, not the most greatest fight I've watched in recent times.
That is definitely true. Brief mention of the undercard. Callum Johnson defeating Sean Monahan, who I don't understand is how he still is on my TV/app. I don't want Sean Monahan on my app ever again. Please stop forcing me to watch this guy. He defeated him via TKO in the 3rd round. Callum Johnson probably earning a title shot in the near future. Story Kuzman putting on a awful fight against Jordan Walker. Oh my God. I'm not going to talk about this fight other than saying that it was the worst fight of the weekend by far.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I was like, wow, we definitely overrated Kuzman. Like, highly overrated him.
I'm going to give him one pass, and that's it.
This was that bad, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not seen this, don't. Like, I'm not even saying watch it just for just to laugh at it. It was that bad. It will make your eyes hurt. Okay. I really didn't watch any of the undercard, like Junior Johan, Otha Jones, Nikita Billy. I didn't watch any of the Abali, whatever his name is. Ababi, whatever. I didn't watch any of these prospects, not because I'm not interested, just because I didn't have time. Rob,
I did. Nikita Ababi continues to look good. I really like him. I think he's got a bit of echo going on in my ears, but yeah, I liked him. Orpha Jones the 3rd or whatever.
Just Rob, just jump out and jump back in.
Yo,
I'm sorry, Rob. Relax, okay? Hey, it's okay. Be back in a second. You know how the Google Hangout may be. But quickly, before Rob jumps back in, I will say this: Nikita Bibi or whatever, he needs to fight guys that aren't 5, 8, and 3 for me to think that he's a world beater. I will say that. Especially with the nickname White Chocolate. I am judging you far more harshly than the average prospect just because of that nickname. Let's be honest. Rob is back now. Rob?
Hello.
Is
that better?
It is.
Beautiful. Yeah, Nikita Ababi. I really like the kid. I think he's going to be someone to really watch. He's an exciting fighter to watch. Otha Jones the 3rd. In a tough fight first up, making his pro debut, but he showed some slick defense. And
sorry, just really quickly. Otha Jones fought a guy that was 5-1, Nikita Abibi or whatever. I mean, mispronounce that name 10 times before I get it right. He fought a guy that was 5, 8, and 3. Just shows you the level of trust they have in Jones versus Nikita.
Yeah. Who else? Oh, was it Madrimov? How'd you say it?
Israel Madrimov.
Yeah, holy shit bags. He killed some.
I saw that. I did see that.
Sweet Lord. That was damn knockout of the week.
And he, for his credit, I mean, talking about a guy that is on the fast track now 2-0, but heading into this fight only 1-0. He fought a guy that was 24-2. That's a mark of a management company, a promotional company trusting you a lot.
He is legit. Oh my God, that was savage. That was, I think the kid went to hospital and was like, vital signs were looking grim at one point, but he perked up again and was apparently he's all right now. But damn,
when I tuned into DAZN on Saturday, right, that had just happened, right? So I just see a guy like on the stretcher. I'm like, what on God's green earth has happened, right? And they showed the replay like 20 minutes later. I'm like, oh,
that's what happened. Then
that is what happened. And then I got Kuzman versus fucking Dewalko next, and that just killed my vibe, man. Just killed it. Anyways, digressing. Let's get to the Friday ESPN Plus BT sports card. Liam Williams, Joe Melender, Anthony Yard, Travis Reeves, Daniel Dubois versus Razvan Cojanu. Again, I don't care, Rob. I tell you this every time. I mispronounce this guy's name on purpose. He's like Sean Monahan. I don't ever want to see him on my TV or app ever again.
He's the yardstick. He's the yardstick.
No, he's never been a yardstick.
He is. He's showing you. Look, Daniel Dubois got him out of there.
Oh my!
Did Nathan Gorman soften him up? Going the distance? No, I don't know. I think but whatever.
Let's get into that actually, because you mentioned it. Because I said this on our group chat after the fight. I was like, man, Daniel Dubois really impressed me. And you're like, yeah, nah, he's trash. He's a dosser. AJ whoops him in 2. It's a bunch of sort of shit talk towards Dan Dubois and Frank Warren and all of them. Do you really not like? Are you not impressed by Daniel Dubois, or was that just banter? Like, because I'm really impressed with Daniel Dubois. I think he is the best prospect in the heavyweight division. I think he's better than Joe Joyce. I think he's better than all these other guys. He looks like not the complete package yet, but he is very close to that.
No, I don't think he's anywhere near the finished article. And if that's a sign of anything, then obviously he's going to be an all-time great. But at the minute, I just think he can crack. I think that's it. If he catches you, that's it.
You don't see like really good combinations. You don't see fundamental boxing.
I saw him punch him twice in the dick and then fucking finish him. That's about it.
Stop. That wasn't all that happened. And that's not all he's done throughout his career thus far, too. Like, you're acting like he's never impressed you?
Not massive. Look, he can absolutely punch someone really hard.
I get it, man. I get it. You got to stick with the family. I get it. I get it, man.
I can't root for the enemy. No,
you can't. I get it.
Of course I can. Look, no, I just don't see... I don't know. If AJ's a stiff robot, then I don't know what Daniel Dubois is. Holy shit.
Well, AJ was a stiff robot. You know what I mean? Like, he was. Like, I feel like these two guys are obviously parallels of each other in a lot of ways. I think Dubois does lack head movement and defensive sort of technique, but that will come with time. Offensively, he's dynamic. He is quite skilled. And plus, I think he's getting, he's faster now than he was previously. I think he's becoming a better athlete. Plus he's young. He has tons of years on his side. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be a champion.
I've not written his career off. I'm just saying he needs to show me a lot more if I'm going to start seeing him as this bright new future of heavyweight boxing. I just think... he doesn't move his head. I think his footwork's poor. I don't think he. This time, I thought, there was some combinations, but that's maybe an improvement from before. But I don't know. I just think at the moment he's relying a lot on his power, and
what's the heavyweights?
Be interesting to see when someone
look at Deontay Wilder. I mean. You act like really extreme power can't get you very, very far in this division.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong, but we haven't seen him against someone who's gonna fight back or hit him back.
Hey, you just said that he fought the yardstick. What did you call it?
Yeah, but I'm talking about someone who goes rounds.
And also, I will say this: you saying yardstick instead of meter stick or whatever, like you fake European.
Yeah, but yardstick's like a saying, isn't it?
It is, but still fake European.
All right. Meter stick.
Anyways,
meter stick.
Anyways, I thought Dubois looked quite impressive against Razvan. I'm quite high on the guy. I'm probably more high on him than Hrgovic, and that might be a little bit controversial for some people. But hey,
hot
take of the day, and I'm full of them. Anthony Yard versus Travis Reese. Oh my God. where to even begin with this? The knockout was nice. Let's start with some positive. That's about it for the positive. Yard is he might be. I've said this before. He is the UK's Ryan Garcia. He is the overhyped guy who thinks he can beat everyone at the top because he's still calling out Sergey Kovalev and still calling out all these guys. But yet, he gets stuck on the inside and exchanges and firefights all the time. Thinks he is this slick defensive, mastermind, sublime boxer. He isn't. I'm beginning to not only think that Yard is a hype job, but to think like he is a monstrous hype job because he has digressed time and time again in competition level and has not looked good every time. Like that is concerning. Like when Jarrell Miller, for example, when he regressed in competition level, at least he got like quicker knockouts, right, Rob? Like at least he not necessarily looked better, but like didn't make us watch 12 rounds of Jarrell Miller or 10 rounds of Jarrell Miller. I like that. I appreciated that. With Yard, I feel like every time he has taken a step down in competition, he has done worse every time. And I don't know how to remedy that with what he is telling us, with what his promoter is telling us, other than he is a monstrous hype job. Rob, your thoughts on Anthony Yard, Travis Reeves, and am I being far too critical?
I think maybe I don't know, maybe a tiny bit.
Maybe a tiny bit.
Yeah, look, he had 12 amateur fights.
Yes.
That's it. And he's kind of learning on the job. But this WBO mandatory could come way too soon, in my opinion. If they call that against Kovalev, I don't know. I don't know. He needs to pump the brakes a little bit. I do think there's an element,
especially the Kovalev we just saw tear apart Elie Alvarez. I mean,
yeah, for sure. He came back, rebooted Kovalev kind of thing. He's like
Renaissance.
Kovalev 2.0, 3.0. I don't know. But yeah, no, Kovalev came back, looked good. Especially after being, knocked down a bunch of times in the first one, to come back and do something like that was great. But yeah, Yard, I don't know. I think there's an element of learning on the job. I feel people wanting to step up and let's see what he's like. Let's see him like under some real pressure. Let's see him like take a heavy shot. Let's see what he's like under that kind of spotlight. But I don't know. It's hard because I think he needs more fights, but I don't know. It's like he needs that step up, and let's see what he's really made of. But yeah, I've never been massively high on the guy, to be honest. I think he's a work in progress. I think he shows signs of that he could be something, but he needs to put that together. And partly, when you see training footage and it's all this tippy-tappy routine, hard work, I'm always like, yeah, skip me with that bullshit. Let's just see what you can fight like. It's all great in the gym, that kind of stuff, but I always go like, oh, yeah, whatever, next. It doesn't interest me. But I don't know. It's tricky with him because I think he needs to step up, but I think he needs more fights and slow it down a little as far as the progression. But I think potential lunatic, or someone said it in the chat, like the public aren't going to wait around that much for it.
I agree.
Because of, like you say, the hype that's kind of been behind him. And it's like, well, let's see it then.
Well, if Yard was coming out here and saying, like, look, man, like, I need time. Like, I'm a work in progress. Like, I need time. I need a lot of work. Like, I'm not ready for those top guys yet. Respect to Kovalev. Respect to all these guys. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm going to beat up these top 30 guys still because I need time. I need work. He's not saying that. He's saying that the 180-degree opposite of that and saying, I want Kovalev now. I can whoop that ass. So, therefore, we expect that. It's like Gervonta Davis when he became champion. Like, we expect a different level of him now that he's champion. Anthony Joshua when he became champion. Remember, like, the Eddie Hearn was quick to say, like, no, like, he needs time to build up. blah blah, and luckily they really didn't do that much. But I think Yard, even though not being a champion, he's in, like you said, a high-ranking position with the WBO. He himself is saying all these things. So he has to sort of answer for it at some point or another. And if it's sooner, the public's going to be less angry about it. If it's later, the more we get angry about it. The more I think we, not necessarily like boycott, because that's really the wrong term, but sort of push back on Yard events. Like this was a main event, Anthony Yard fight, an event. Eventually, I think the UK public will not accept that anymore if it's against this level of competition over and over again.
We're kind of not, but it's like with some boxing on TV. We're kind of like, they kind of throw out a lot of these Warren cards are kind of like, if it hasn't got Warrington on it, or obviously I don't know if it's going to be Fury anymore because he's over going to be fighting in the US. So whether we're staying up till 4 to watch Fury, but a lot of it is Dubois, Yard.
Maybe Warrington too. We're going to talk about that later, obviously. But it looks like, man, it looks like Frank's going to struggle to make some UK events, and Yard might have to be a fixture over there for some time.
Yeah. So it's tricky because someone posted the betting odds for all of Yard's fights, and he's been like a -1,000, or for UK listeners, like 1,000 to 1 on and shit like that for like the first like 12, and then it went down to he's a -500 or something. Like it's just been super odds on favorite for every single fight. We haven't seen a sort of a balancing up where it's like, oh, this is a 60-40 fight, or closing in on a 50-50 fight. I don't know. He needs a test, but if he'd have just gone about his business quietly, we'd have seen him get into, what is he now, 17, 18 and 0. And we'd be like, yeah, he's ticking over nicely. But because of the hype, because of, Warren saying he's this great thing, and because of himself saying that he's the beast from the East, he's this, that, and the other, and stuff, it's like, well, let's see it then. All right, do it then. Oh, another knockover fight. Oh, brilliant. When are you going to step up? When are you going to step up? So it's kind of self-made that he's getting criticism, because if he'd have just been a normal kind of getting on with his business kind of fighter, he's a prospect at 17 and 0 or whatever. Like, cool, not shouting from the rooftops, I'm this, that, and the other. But yeah, we'll see. But WBO, I don't know if they call that mandatory. That's going to be, we will find out just where he's at.
Agreed. For the sake of time, let's move on to the news of the day. Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, add Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. And also for the sake of time, because we have a lot of news to get to, we're going to try to get through this as fast as possible, and still get to your calls and have you guys have as plenty of time as you want, so Gary can have his 20-minute call or whatever he wants, and to tell us that he was right, blah, blah, blah. I want to give Gary that, so let's get to this news as fast as possible. G. Leon over at BoxingTalk.com is reporting that Rivas seems likely for Tyson Fury ESPN debut on June 8th. His name has been submitted to Team Fury for approval. In other news, there's talks for Jesse Hart making his light heavyweight debut against Errol Alvarez, who we just mentioned earlier, in June also. I really like that Alvarez and Jesse Hart fight, I will be honest. I really like that matchup. Makes complete sense. Also, I mean, Rob, this isn't news yet, and no offense to G. Leon, he's not the beat reporter I look to for breaking news. But how credible do you think this Rivas matchup is? I know we've been joking about it forever, but is it really going to be Oscar Rivas? Is it really just going to be that?
Don't know what happened there. I don't know. There isn't a great deal of choice, right? So Rivas is in the hat out of how many fighters? Jennings, Rivas, Parker. Now I'm struggling. So I guess it was kind of going to be one of those. There just isn't the pool over there for Fury to fight, So I don't know. But June 8th, I believe, is a potential return date for Triple G as well. So are people going to watch of two tune-ups, are you going to watch the one where there isn't a knockout, or are you going to want to watch the one where there is a brutal one? So I don't know.
Yeah, what if Rivas wins? That'd be awesome. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
it's not gonna.
I'm just going to be intrigued because Rivas isn't a name in America. Fury is to a point, but how many people are going to watch that? I don't know. I know they're in 300 million homes in the US. Yeah, but you might get 1 million. I don't know. Actually, watch. we'll see. But
wait, did Aaron really say that he'd be in 300 million homes?
No, Fury did.
Fury did. Okay, that's some good math right there. Digressing from that point, though, let's move on. Adam Kownacki, speaking of heavyweight, drawing a ton of interest, getting offers from DAZN, ESPN, PBC, etc. Rob, where do you think Adam Kownacki ends up in this sort of new landscape of free agency in the heavyweight division?
I think his next fight's still going to be on PBC. He seemed to suggest that his next opponent or date is going to be announced real soon. So I think we're going to see Kownacki on one more Showtime fight or PBC card, I mean. But going forward, I will just question anyone who doesn't sign where the belts are, to be honest. That's just my opinion. And I think if they don't sign there, it's purely money driven. And I think DAZN are obviously at the moment throwing it out there as well. So why not look for sort of legacy / belts / money instead of just money? I don't know. I think DAZN and Real got some momentum now, and I think it has eventually made people go, oh, maybe.
So,
maybe.
Sorry. So, like for Terrence Crawford, for example, you think like you judge him for not like going to PBC and making those fights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hold the same standard to everybody.
No, I'm just asking because like I pretty much agree with you. Like,
is he just not long recently re-upped, right?
I wouldn't use the term like judging them, like you said, but I would say like you can't feel bad for them. You know what I mean? I don't feel bad for Jamal Charlo. I feel bad for Terrence Crawford. I don't feel bad if let's say if the Wilder deal comes to fruition. I wouldn't feel bad for Kownacki if he's the last guy not on DAZN or Fury, for example, or Dylan Wyatt. Like if some of these guys don't end up where these belts are, like I don't feel bad for them because it's the era of free agency. If you want to go get a belt, go get a belt. If you want to stay with the network and collect a check, collect that check. I'm done, judging or caring so much about those things because God, it just doesn't matter. But digressing, Rob, anything else?
No, I agree. Like I didn't necessarily mean judge like
they're ducking, they're cowards.
Or you're an idiot or anything like that. It's
stupid.
You're either making a shit ton of money or you're trying to do it and winning belts and titles and building some kind of, future, like some history in the sport when people look back. But I don't know. But I just feel DAZN at the moment, 6 months in, have really sort of turned some heads now. I think there's some people sort of actually taking notice, whereas before they were perhaps getting a little bit ridiculed and laughed at and sort of, what the fuck is this? It's an app. What is that? I don't know. But I just feel now it's like, whoa. So I'm seeing a lot of zeros being banded around in all these headlines at the moment. And obviously ESPN are doing that as well. But I just feel, especially heavyweight division, Tyson Fury for the air quotes lineal championship of the world. I don't know.
Quickly, Fat Apples in the chat. Let me just read the comment just so I can get it right. Saying, so Matt, ... I love the dots, by the way. The ellipses, I like that. Are going to retract your statement bashing at me for saying Wilder shouldn't go to the zone just because I made the point about Jacobs doing it under Heyman and you quoted ridiculous. Winky emoji. Fat Apples, I would say that I don't remember exactly what you're referring to. To be honest, I do how many shows per week. And again, I have no idea exactly what you're referring to with the context. But if I'm just to assume it, I would probably say that your argument of Wilder should go to DAZN because Jacobs went to DAZN isn't a good argument. Wilder should go to DAZN for a litany of other reasons if the offer is good. And that is a big caveat. I think Jacobs, his own deal, his movement to DAZN is completely separate from Wilder. I think that is probably what I was trying to get at, and you just probably misunderstood it. But digressing. Chat's super weird today. Let's just move on. Top Rank MTK Global inking a multi-year licensing agreement. And just to add to this news, because it has come out, I want to say, only maybe like a couple hours after that news, that Keith Idek was reporting that Billy Joe Saunders, Josh Warrington, Carl Frampton, and maybe Daniel Dubois are being approached and receiving offers from Top Rank to be in co-promotional deals like Tyson Fury. Now, Rob, obviously, that on its face, on the surface, we can tackle, right? Though I want to get into a broader topic about UK boxing overall in a bit. But let's first tackle, like, on the surface, this news. MTK Global and Top Rank partnering. On top of that, noteworthy MTK fighters and Frank Warren fighters now start being approached and receiving offers from Top Rank to be co-promoted by them. Your thoughts on all of that, and you can tackle it from any angle you want.
Yeah, some of the names that are being approached sort of raise a little bit of an eyebrow for me. I don't know what Bob can offer Billy Joe Saunders too much. I don't over on that side of things. And for someone who said, bring me Canelo, bring me Triple G, I want those fights, well, you know where those fights are. You've had an offer from DAZN, allegedly. So why you would consider the ESPN one, I'm not sure, because I think the biggest money fight he can possibly go and make is against Canelo. Yeah, it looks like he might end up over on ESPN. I don't know. And he's looking at 168. So what? Rob Brandt, brilliant. No disrespect to Rob Brandt, but is that the...
No, Rob Brandt's 160. That would be a 160 fight.
Well, even more then. So, great. A WBA regular. I don't know. There's certain names in that list. Like, I get Warrington. There's obviously the Valdez fight. But I don't know. There's I guess a few fights that could be made over on that side of things. I mean, Daniel Dubois, like possibly the future, you seem to think, Matt, of the division. What's he going to get over on ESPN? And stuff? I don't know. But it's a co-promotional deal. I mean, look, Frank Warren said when Fury, he's not fighting Wilder next. Frank Warren's like, look, it's out of my hands. That's what Top Rank wanted to do. That's what Bob Arum wanted to do. It's nothing to do with me. So it's like, wait, are you anything to do with Fury's future anymore? And then in another interview, he's like, yeah, we're like joint. It's 50-50, we all discussions. So it was something to do with you then, Frank, wasn't it? If everyone's involved and we're all having discussions. I don't know. When blame needs to be pointed out, he's very quick to say, nothing to do with me. This is out of my hands. I wanted him to fight Wilder. Don't shout at me. I know you all wanted the fight. Not my fault. Speak to Bob. But then he was questioned, like, so are you anything to do with Fury anymore? He's like, yeah, of course. It's like a 50-50 thing. We've all got equal say in everything. So I don't know. But an MTK linking up with ESPN, it's a great platform for a lot of fighters to get exposure. On a bunch of these, I'm sure most of the cards that you're going to watch via MTK over on ESPN are going to be at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time or whatever. And I don't know necessarily quite what a draw it's going to be, because I don't think anyone's going to know anyone on it very much.
It's cheap. It's cheap content. Like,
it's just content.
Yeah, it's just cheap content. It's filler content. Just like DAZN picking up like a Combates Americas. right? Like that MMA promotion. Like no one gives a shit about Combates Americas. Let's be honest. It's a very small number of people, but it's filler. It's extra content just to beef it up. It's cheap content. And again, I also think it's not only about getting those MTK shows. I think there is a direct link between the news we're hearing about Top Rank approaching these MTK fighters under Frank Warren and MTK making this deal with Top Rank and ESPN. Those are, to me, they're linked. They just are. How linked they are, if it's just one of those like pro-crow sort of situations where like the one happened and the other happened just by default, or whether they are contractually linked, I don't know. But they just seem obviously connected. I don't want to get too far into like Saunders, Warrington, Frampton, and Dubois heading to ESPN and what the matchups, because who knows what they're going to do there. I do want to get to this broader topic, and also want to jump in and bring in this topic as well. The Chisora, Gashi, and the Dave Allen, Lucas Brown card for Sky Sports on April 20th. The famed April 20th. Rob, I see you smirking. You know what I'm coming up with. The famed, Dylan White 420 card that never came to fruition. We got the card. It just doesn't have Dylan White or Joseph Parker on it, or Anthony Joshua. But digressing, Fat Apples, I did get the email. Yes, I did. I sent you a response back. Rob, I gotta send you a link to a fight that Fat Apple sent me. But I know you've seen this fight because we made fun of this fight, and it's a dig at Wilder, so you will like it. But I'll send it to you later. Anyways, digressing, back to my point. We are obviously seeing a lot of the big names in UK boxing, A, retire, like a DeGale, like a Groves, and B, move to the U.S., or potentially move to the U.S., like obviously the Billy Joe Saunders, Warrington, Frampton. That's not official, but let's say that does happen, just for argument's sake, right? How does UK boxing cope with their big names not being in the UK boxing? If we are in a paradigm where Joshua, Fury, Dylan White, Warrington, Frampton, like you go down the list of all the names, and none of them are fighting in the UK in the next 12 months, what happens to the market then? And this is also more of an open-ended question. I know, Rob, you have some probably opinions about it. I do want to hear your opinions, but this is also just something I want people thinking about for the next 12 months is start noticing that. Like, what is Matchroom or Frank Warren scheduling in the UK for cards if all their top-level names are now in the US? That is a concern. Because they're going to have to fill in main event slots. They're going to have to fill in dates and venues. And who are they going to fill in? It's going to be a Chisora, Gashi, and Dave Allen, Lucas Brown doubleheader. It's going to be the Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Yard doubleheader. It's going to be something along those lines for the next year. Again, how does the market handle that? Rob, your thoughts on this overall and the broad sort of landscape of UK boxing going into this new paradigm?
Well, I know there's definitely a feeling that people feel that Eddie Hearn's turned his back on the UK. He's taking everyone over to DAZN, fighting in America.
And quickly, that's not what I'm saying. I just want to make that perfectly clear. That's not what I'm trying to make that angle. Like, oh, Eddie's leaving, Frank Warren's leaving. No, just look, like, this happens. Like, we've seen it with Ricky Hatton and how he went over. Carl Froch, even in his way, fought Andre Ward, came over in a sense. Like UK fighters just do this. We just happen to be in a stage in boxing where there are so many UK names that are making that trip over to the US relatively at the same time. We had James DeGale, Carl Frampton already sort of make the trip over to the US and make big fights over here. We just have now half a dozen big name fighters all doing that at the same time. That's new. And again, I don't think that's hate on Eddie. I don't think that's hate on Frank. We can talk about it more from a broader perspective than that and be fanboys. Back to you, Rob.
I'm glad you covered yourself there, Matt.
I really wanted to cover myself there.
Before the chat went full attack. And the YouTube comments later. I get what people are saying, but I don't think like Cal Brooks rumored to be going over to the States and fighting sort of March or May or something like that. I don't think he's there for the duration of his career. I think he'll be back here. Callum Smith rumored to be on the Usyk card. I don't think he's going to spend the rest of his career in America. So I think this is just a period of.
Then let's isolate to this. Then let's isolate to this 12 months, this year, 2019.
Yeah. But I just feel, I feel sort of Eddie Hearn. If we want to talk about the matchroom side of things at the moment, I think Eddie Hearn has delivered a lot of good stuff leading up to this, and I think to a degree some are like quick to say, "Oh, Eddie Hearn, he's take ever." But I get it. People want to see good cards every Saturday on Sky UK. You know, a bunch of people want to go and watch it, fill up arenas and this, that, and the other. I get it, but I think like just chill. It's like March, you know. It's we've got time. And you mentioned your list of people that are going over. I know there's this like potential contract being waived at Dillian White, but he's on record since all this ESPN talk that he's going to be fighting in the UK in July. So he's going to be here. It looks like on.
Was that him on the record or Eddie Hearn on the record? Just curious.
Dillian.
Okay.
He's saying he.
I didn't see that. So after the show, can you send me that after the show?
Yeah. I'll have a look. Look, I get it. But I just feel pump the brakes on. Oh, Eddie Hearn's done this.
Well, again, let's get away from that, Rob. No.
I'm getting on to moving on a broader thing. It's like the same with Warren. I mean, we've had the Dubois Yard double headers for a good while now, and it was until Fury made his return. They were two fights that did people really care? They were just maybe glad to see Fury back, and even then it drew criticism. Obviously, the Wilder fight got made, but then he's made this deal and gone over and seen the dollar signs or whatever. So he's going over.
But you still had Frampton Warrington. You still had UK events that were big, that were main events that mattered with names that people care about. So far this year, those big names aren't going to be there, except for now maybe Dylan White, and that's it. And can Dylan White hold up the market for a year? Until a Callum Smith comes back, and even how much difference does he make in the market? You've sort of talked about that before. That Callum Smith is not the guy to sell out Wembley and anything like that to sort of hold the market together. Across the board, how does the market make events that are primetime Saturday events that aren't next gen cards? Because I talked about this with the Chisora Gashi card. Off air with you, I was like, "Look, this is a next gen card in my opinion." I know Chisora. I know Chisora. He's not a next gen guy, but in my mind, you have a main event that is just a veteran guy who's not a championship level caliber fighter, a sort of high level journeyman, to use that word. I'm not using a derogatory word. I'm just using that word. And the rest of the card is prospects in a sense. What you think about Dave Allen, it may not be a prospect, but Allen and Brown as the co-main event. And again, this being, I asked you this, Rob, this is the biggest UK event of the year scheduled so far. So far, relax. Not you, Rob. Relax, UK fans. So far. And obviously, if White in July, whoever he fights, is that enough to sort of satisfy the UK fan base? And if it isn't, is that an issue?
Look.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
That is true. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. That is definitely true.
Look, I just think we've been in a real like purple patch over here. Boxing has never been higher. And I know Adam Smith kind of gave Eddie Hearn a sort of public sort of lashing. So, the Cheeseman card, not good enough. This isn't Saturday night main event primetime boxing for Sky. We're not happy with this card. but he's gone out. He's made Charlie Edwards card this month, near the end of this month. Which I think is a decent card. There's the Smith Eggington with a bunch of good fights underneath that. No, Matt, just wait. I'm just saying. And Adam Smith, as the Sky guy, has said, we like that card. We like that card. We like that. So to a point, I know Eddie always says, the fans are the ones that drive the sport, this, that, and the other, but he's got to please Adam Smith, basically.
Of course. No, of course. He has to please the network.
Kind of fulfilling his obligations that way. But I get it. I understand. I mean, I just said to you in that chat about the Chisora card with, by the way, I think Dave Allen is the main event. And Chisora.
Oh, really? They're putting...
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
I swore on the poster it was like Chisora was like his name was on top. Could be wrong. Maybe they could change that. Honestly, they could. I will say this: the Dave Allen Brown fight is the better fight of the two. That's obvious. Chisora is the better name.
But my point to you was because you were like Saturday night primetime boxing should be like a world championship fight or. But we just haven't got as many world champions as. Sorry.
And again, it's more of like, hey, if this card was there's not an equivalent, but like Sky Sports Plus, right? If this was a Sky Sports Plus card, I know they don't have that there, but just hypothetically speaking, if this was on a lower tier portion of Sky where it's not the same paywall, because this is premium cable over there. This is HBO, this is Showtime. You guys pay monthly for Sky. If we had a primetime Saturday HBO World Championship card and there wasn't a World Championship on the card, that would be an issue. You know what I mean?
We wouldn't call it a World Championship card if it didn't have a World Championship on it, if you know what I mean.
But understand the equivalent for Sky is sort of the main Sky channel Saturday primetime show with the big bells and whistles at the O2. It's in a big arena. It's marketed as a big event.
But
it's not a big event.
I mean, you've got to understand how Sky Sports do it. We've got it's 8 Sky Sports channels.
Mm-hmm. And so does HBO, so does Showtime. They do. That's why you get the Showbox cards. Those would be on like Show Extreme, not regular Showtime.
Yeah. So we've got, I don't know. There's like Sky Sports Arena, and that's where a lot of the boxing is because it's, I guess, kind of indoor sport.
Quick question. Like the next gen cards, which I compared this to, that's usually not on a Saturday, right? And on top of that, they can be. No, they can be. But I've seen a lot of Wednesday next gen cards, right? For example,
there was one at York Hall with Katie Taylor on it,
and plus the
I'm not Katie Taylor, sorry, but anyway, yeah.
The Chamberlain Okoli fight was a Wednesday night next gen card, I believe. Like they have dabbled with putting that off Saturday. On top of that, this is more of a question: is the next gen cards on Sky Sports 1? Is it on main Sky?
Well, that's what I mean. It's kind of changed now. It used to be Sky Sports 1, Sky Sports 2, Sky Sports 3, Sky Sports 4, Sky Sports Extra. And that. Now it's kind of like you can get like Sky Formula 1, Sky Cricket, Sky, and it's sort of divided up, and boxing is on like Arena, and it might be on 401 used to just be Sky Sports 1, and that would be like your Premier League soccer, like the big, like you say, like the big events. And sometimes they'll put it, if it's a big event, it might be on Sky Sports 1 and like Sky Arena or something like that. It's like on at the same time for some reason, but you do now get the sports kind of compartmentalized.
Yes, there you go. Look, hey, another word of the day there, Rob. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I've been unwell.
You've been unwell.
So yeah, it's slightly different now. So at any given time on Sky Sports channels, you've got all these different events happening.
Quickly, breaking news. Speaking of Warrington and UK boxing, a UK fight has been finalized and official per ESPN. Dan Rayfield. The mandatory fight between featherweight world titleist Josh Warrington and British countryman Kid Galahad, which was signed and scheduled for May 4th in Warrington's hometown of Leeds, England, doesn't look like it will come off as planned. Warrington promoter Frank Warren, who won a purse bid last month to gain control of the fight with an offer of $1.68 million to beat Matchroom's Boxing $1.44 million bid, wrote to the IBF on Tuesday to inform the organization that Warrington has suffered a hand injury and asked for an extension. Rob, you know me, right? I love a good conspiracy theory, right? We've just been talking about this. Warrington probably just got a big fat offer from ESPN and Top Rank. I would not be surprised if he might have a minor injury, but they're now sort of using that to say, hey, look, we're going to push off this Leeds card on May. We're going to push that off. We're going to postpone it. And we could see Warrington Galahad happen, but it's a ESPN Plus main event. And it's still in America potentially, and that might be a major concern. Though I do think we still could be in the UK and be on ESPN Plus. I've been saying that forever. That's the beauty of streaming. But yet,
wouldn't it have been on ESPN Plus anyway?
Most likely, yes. But now there's more money coming in. Think about it that way. Like now, ESPN is paying Warrington, and that's also I think why the fight would maybe be moved to the US. But digressing from that,
an extension as in what? They would renegotiate a
No, because the deal's already made. They already have the purse bid. So, like that's finalized.
Yeah.
So I think the date and the venue has been pushed back.
Because they got to fight within a certain amount of days.
Yes. There's a window. You're right. There's like a 90-day, whatever that time frame is. That's probably why. Yes, you're absolutely right. Digressing though, back to this topic. I really have nothing else to say about it other than just look for it, UK fans in particular. What does the market look like in the next 12 months with all these names potentially leaving the UK? How does the market handle that? How does the market adapt to that? Those are all questions I think everyone should just ponder and ask themselves and start, having those discussions because they're fun discussions. I know people hate about talking about the business of boxing, but big market trends about the economics of the sport. I mean, who doesn't love that? Who doesn't geek over that shit, right, Rob?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We're big on it here.
Anyways, we're going to briefly run through these Eddie Hearn quotes. First, he mentioned we're making Gervonta Davis a, quote, fucking massive offer. I believe the rumor number is $5 million. I don't know if he said that specifically in the interview from Box.
I thought he'd already said $5 million. So whether this one on Friday, which apparently he said he might even say it in the ring. He might even say it out loud on the microphone in the ring, what this new offer is going to be. Mm-hmm. But it might have already had an offer of 5.
So we have obviously Eddie Hearn saying that we're going to offer Gervonta Davis and Tevin Farmer this big fight for a lot of millions. On top of that, Hearn telling Jamal Charlo, what the fuck are you waiting for? And then the and then we have the Rosado-Salitsky winner is likely next for Andrade per Eddie Hearn. And last one of the day, the Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder stuff. Eddie Hearn coming out and saying that it's closer, that they need a mediator, blah, blah, blah. Everything that I've been saying for some time now. Rob, what do you want to tackle specifically from these Eddie Hearn quotes? Is it Charlo, Farmer, Davis, Wilder, Joshua? What do you want to take first? And let's very quickly, Rob, just for the sake of time, let's try to not debate this. Let's just go through it, give your thought, give my thought, go to callers just for the sake of time.
Just agree with me. It's all good.
Rob, you are absolutely right. You are amazing for this show.
No, I think unless there's been a change of heart, I can't see Davis fighting on DAZN. LB is on record saying Mayweather Promotions will not be working with DAZN, or Tank will not be fighting on DAZN. So what this offer is and whether that can change their minds, I doubt it. Tank did tweet something that looks like it's going to be a $13 to $15 million year or something like that. So whether that means he's been given the green light, because he also tweeted like, thank you, Al. But he also thanked Steven Espinoza. So whether that's thanking him because he's going to be a pay-per-view or he's going to do a Showtime show, or whether he's thanking him saying, look, go over to DAZN, get that belt, come back, or I don't know. But from what we know at the moment, LB is like, nah, ain't happening. So I think Eddie Hearn could say whatever he wanted in the ring on Friday, and it won't happen. What else was it?
The Wilder AJ stuff, and let's get to that very quickly. I want to add to this. It's from the Adam Kownacki article. Actually, go back and read that from Kayla Deck. That's where this aspect is. But allegedly, the offer is a 2-fight offer for a combined $50 million for Deontay Wilder. Me and you, Rob, were talking off air about the 2-fight. That's kind of weird. So the Brazil fight's not going to be included. I threw out maybe that the Brazil fight is included and there's a 3rd fight option, and PBC just has an event on DAZN, and that sort of be a weird dynamic. PBC is not tied down to any individual networks. That's why they have a multi-network deal. So hell, why can't DAZN get in on the PBC action?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Hey, I know it's unlikely, but hey, if you're Heyman, you have to at least think about that. You go collect another bag. That's all I'm thinking about. But anyways, digressing. Rob, we also have the AJ Wilder 2-fight deal, $50 million. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Eddie said there's been some kind of breakthrough. So whether that meeting has taken place with Wilder today, with John Skipper and Wilder's team, I don't know. But I believe Eddie was interviewed at the media workouts today and gave his thoughts to Sky and suggested some kind of breakthrough. He said, but I don't want to talk about it too much. Don't want to jinx it. Then they discussed about him being involved. He said, I don't think that would be wise at this point. The feelings towards myself and, the between the camps is not the best. So a mediator is the best option. And there's a long way to go still, but the signs are looking potentially positive. So whether that's some indication that Wilder is intrigued by this DAZN offer, we'll wait and see and hear on that. But yeah, fingers crossed, that's the fight. That's probably the biggest fight that could be made in boxing right now. So yeah, fingers crossed we'll get to see it, and we'll get an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world from the United Kingdom.
I do apologize. Last news topic of the day, then we're going to callers. I'm not even going to debate it. Rob, I don't want to hear your thoughts about it. Sorry. Mike Hoppage is saying, sources, Caleb Plant, who we just mentioned obviously earlier, first defense will likely take place July 20th against Mike Lee, and that's not the worst part, who will drop down from light heavyweight in a Fox main event. Keith Adek reported weeks ago that Plant was headed towards a fight with Lee, who's best known for his Subway commercials. I'll be honest.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
God damn, that I really don't want Plant versus Mike Lee as a Fox main event. If this was FS1, give 2 shits. But it's Fox. God damn it. Anyways, let's get to callers, Rob. I just don't like that fight. I don't like that. Oh, God. So bad. So bad. Let's go out to Santiago in L.A. Santiago.
Santi.
Hey, guys. What's up? How are 2 of my 3 favorite co-hosts of the MCR show doing today? And also, a better comparison for you guys would be that Rob is the Lee Christmas to Matt's Barney Ross. Just saying.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Anyway.
It's okay. It's okay, Rob. You're old.
All right. So, interesting weekend of fights we had. Definitely, I honestly thought, just based on Shawn Porter's reaction, that he probably thought he lost the fight, because when that final bell rang and Ugas was just up there, like, celebrating, thinking that he did enough to win, Shawn Porter just stood there nodding his head like, yeah, all right. He didn't look like a guy who thought he won. And they gave him the decision, but to be honest, I'm with you, Matt, that, that fight was close. Both guys didn't really do much to, like, stand out per se. Ugas looked really good in this fight, but definitely the urgency kind of came on late for him. Porter with the new movement, I felt didn't really know how he could get his offense going again because a lot of it was just him moving excessively, the way that Lamont Peterson did when he fought Danny Garcia. It was an all right fight. Hopefully we get to see Ugas again. I don't know what's next for Shawn Porter. I personally feel like maybe this fight might have just taken something out of him because he definitely doesn't look like a guy who's going to have his heart in it for too long now. He looks like he's only got a few bullets left in the chamber before he decides to call it a career. That's just my opinion, though, so take it as you will. The DAZN main event, Bivol versus Smith. I think I told you a while back, too, that I thought Smith was going to fight Better Beef. So I was very surprised when I saw that it was going to be Bivol instead. And I already resigned to the fact that Bivol was going to win this one easy. And in the entire fight, he definitely looked like the guy who was supposed to put him out at that point. Smith did good with a few shots here and there. This to me is definitely a fight that is supposed to make him better now because, Smith did catch him and he does have that power. We saw what he did with Fonfara. We saw what he did with Hopkins. And, this is a fight that's going to have Bivol improving his defenses. Maybe he works on his lateral movement. Maybe he refines more his ability to manage distance and fight going backwards and forwards. I don't know. But definitely I expect Bivol to look better. And he has to look better, moving forward from this fight. Didn't really get a chance to see the Friday card. I had so much going on that day. But based on what you guys told me, it wasn't really one that was like you missed out on. It's interesting, though, because, like, I'm noticing that the UK market is shifting over to the US, and to be honest, I'm not that shocked about it because if there's ever been a particular wording or phrase synonymous with boxing, it's always been for a lot of fighters their US debut. I've never once heard someone say it's their UK debut or their Chinese debut or whatever. It's always been in their U.S. debut, fighting out of Mexico or fighting out of the UK or fighting out of Ghana. It's always been that. It is going to be interesting to see how the UK market reacts to this because if a lot of their key fighters and a lot of the guys that basically, hold the market up are coming to the U.S., yeah, the landscape itself doesn't look good, and obviously just from hearing how Rob feels about it, not a lot of good prospects up. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out in the coming months, and to see which prospects or potential contenders actually step up to be like, okay, we're going to be the next guy from the UK, the next guy that you guys talk about. The guys that actually show the goods, the guy that actually put themselves out there to want to be better, not like Anthony Yarde, who's just basically going on and on and on about he's going to whoop Kovalev's ass when we all know for a damn fact Kovalev will probably torture him within 6 rounds. Don't really have much else to say regarding that. If you guys have any particular questions regarding any of the topics, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call, and nice to see you guys back on the show. And I definitely hope to be able to do a live fight chat with you this Saturday for the pay-per-view, man.
Oh, we're not buying that. We're boycotting the Spencer.
Well, I'm not buying it because it's free.
You're not going to stay up for it, let's be honest.
I might.
No, you're not. Santi, thank you for the call.
Thank you, Santi. Very quick, I didn't mention that we've got no prospects over here.
No,
got Josh Kelly on the card that Matt hates so much.
I think
Joe Cordina fighting for the British.
I think what Santi's trying to mean by that is that you guys don't have anyone that's at the prospect level to main event. You know what I mean? Joshua at a very early stage in his career could main event cards. You know what I'm saying? There isn't that guy. Josh Kelly can't come out here and start main eventing Saturday cards, prime time. I don't know, main sky, but that you just told me that's not the same thing anymore because it's all changed.
Yeah, because he did already headline a card, but it was a next gen card. But
yeah, that's what next gen's fine. But that the Saturday, the big O2, Kelly can't main event an O2 card. I would say. Not yet. Of course, but I think that's what Santiago's talking about. Like even a Yard, a Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, like these sort of prospects can't be the main eventers right now. Not of the big events. They could be the small shows, the small little club shows, of course. That's what prospects were meant for. But the big events, the big arenas, no.
I'll put my claws back.
Anyways, let's go out to Gary in Dallas because I know he wants to tell us how much he told us. So,
robbery.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much.
What up?
First off, you guys, I didn't know you guys were going to get on the Eddie Hearn and Jamal Charlo thing. And I say this, and I just want to comment on that real quick. Jamal Charlo might be my favorite fighter in boxing right now, and Eddie Hearn is one of my least favorite human beings. What is taking Jamal Charlo so long? Al Heyman hasn't got him a title shot. He's been the number one challenger for well over a year. I'd say the same thing to him that I said to Dillian White. Time for a change. You know, I don't like, it's coming from someone who despises Eddie Hearn. But Eddie Hearn has the merchandise that Jamal Charlo wants. What's he waiting for?
Isn't he like mandatory to? Isn't he like mandatory or something? Is it Canelo, or wasn't he ordered to fight Triple G? So
he was ordered to fight Triple G. He was ordered to fight Canelo. Then they said fight Triple G. Triple G said no. So like, okay, you'll fight nobody. Like he's got to go over to Eddie. Like, what's the point of being the mandatory if you never get your shot? It's the same thing as Dillian White. You just sit in that position and never get your number called. You got to make a change. I mean, Al Heyman does a great job of convincing these guys and getting their trust. But he hasn't made any good fights in a long time. I mean, give me the PBC fight that you were in high anticipation for, that you thought was a 50-50 fight. Or it's 50-50-ish.
Heading into it, right?
Yeah.
Ugas, Porter.
Stop. The last one, because like obviously like the Wilder Fury ones in hindsight, like heading into it, I didn't think it was 50-50, so I can't say that. Even though that was a big fight, that was a big event, I won't say that. Probably
Herman Garcia? I'm being serious.
No, I was gonna.
I can't.
I don't know. Thurman Garcia was big though at the time. Like I put it this way.
Garcia Porter.
I was gonna bring up Garcia Porter, but that didn't feel big. Like that was a good fight. That was a really good fight. 50-50. I was excited for it, but that didn't feel big. I didn't feel like Thurman Garcia or even Thurman Porter. It just didn't.
And I can't think of any other in recent memory. We're going back a couple of years now. There's nothing. That's a problem. Like that's a big problem. I don't know, and Eddie can obviously pay him. It's not like he's going to go there and have to fight on the cheap. Eddie will get him paid. So I mean,
quickly, just to play devil's advocate here. What was the last top rank fight that was big in 50-50?
Does Brian Jennings and Rivas count as a big fight?
And another one, Rob, you can answer this, obviously. When was the last Matchroom fight that was 50-50 and a big event? I'm going to say in the U.S. Like, I might say Usyk Bellew counts, because that, even though it was in the U.K., it felt like it mattered here in the U.S. But other than that, like, it's hard to make those big fights. Like, that's sort of my point here. Is that, like,
Rigo Loma. I mean, I know you picked one, but a lot of people picked Rigo, and that was a really good fight.
No, okay.
It was a terrible fight, but it was a big fight.
But that's 2 years ago now.
And you wouldn't say, yeah, it's a year and a half.
What?
Yeah, no, you're right. And then you would say Linares versus Loma wasn't. I mean, that's not a 50-50 fight.
No.
But it's a good fight.
No. That wasn't even Loma Rigo. Like, I'll give you Loma Rigo. I will give you that.
Oh, well, that wasn't 50-50 either.
But heading into people thought it was. They had the reverse Wilder Fury effect. Everyone thought Wilder Fury was a wash. Heading into it, turned out to be 50-50. Everyone thought Loma Rigo was going to be a competitive, fun fight. Turned out to not be that at all.
Wow.
And again, it was big. I would say it didn't meet that sort of like big criteria.
Don't throw me into your everybody thought.
Most people thought it was going to be competitive.
Honestly, Crawford Khan is next.
Pay-per-views don't count, but I see your 50-50 claim.
Pay-per-views do count.
Joshua Klitschko, then.
Is that pay-per-view over in the UK, or is that regular free TV?
I don't think they've decided the UK television yet.
I don't think it's being picked up at the moment. Okay. I think BT are looking favourite, and they might do it as pay-per-view. But Sky have said, nah, it ain't pay-per-view. So they're not getting it.
Okay. Can we get into my boy Ugas now?
Of course, man.
I don't think it was happening. I've watched it twice now on YouTube, but I sent you guys the links in the chat.
Thank you.
I scored at 15-13 for Ugas when I watched it the first time. I watched it again, and I scored at 14-14. I switched the 11th round. There was a scorecard that had it. I could see it being 116 to 112 either way. It was a tough fight to score. I don't think it was a robbery, although I do think Ugas. The first time I watched it, I thought Ugas won. And I thought the knockdown or the slip should have been counted as a knockdown, which would have gave Ugas an extra point. So he definitely would have won. But no, I don't. You can't. Now, every time there's a close decision that goes one way instead of the other, you can't call it a robbery. The only thing I would say is, what's it? Max DeLuca, the judge, scored the 12th round for Porter. I don't know how that's possible. If he scores it for Ugas, it's a draw. That's the only thing that looks weird. But you have to keep in mind that Max DeLuca is one of the worst judges ever. So he had one night where he scored. Do you remember when Tevin Farmer scored for the Japanese guy, Tagachi or whatever his name was, for a vacant belt on HBO?
Yes.
Okay. Terrible bogus decision. Max DeLuca was one of the judges that scored it for the Japanese guy. On the undercard, he scored. He got two cards totally wrong that night, and the week before was the J-Rock Ishii Smith fight, where he scored at 99-91 for J-Rock, which was like a 50-50 fight. So Max DeLuca has a history of being a horrible judge. So that looks bad that he scored the 12 rounds for Porter. He had scored, it would have been a draw if he had scored for Ugas, but you have to keep in mind that DeLuca is just a really bad judge. But no, I didn't think it was a robbery. I thought it was a fairly even fight. I just thought not calling it a knockdown in the 12th round was a bad missed call. But you haven't seen it yet, Matt? Is that what you were saying?
No. I saw it live, obviously. But trying to catch it on replay, It's cut off every time. The Fox Sports app, they cut it off before the fight even starts. And my recording, it cuts off at the 7th round.
Okay, because it for me, it cut off before that, and I didn't get any of the main event. So I had to go look for the main event on YouTube. Yeah. Shout out to Fox Sports. Then the other card. I don't think Bivol looked that good. First off, Bivol's fighting in the wrong weight class. He's not a light heavyweight. Did you see the size difference? I mean, Joe Smith was 20 pounds bigger than him in the ring.
Yeah, he was big.
I mean, he won. Clearly, Bivol won. I had it close to you guys. I had it 8-4. But, I mean, Joe Smith is what he is. I mean, Bivol should box circles around Joe Smith. I don't think he looked that good. I mean, who's great at 170? I think Vivic beats him, but I think that's probably it. I mean, I think the rest of the guys at 75 are flawed too. So, and then Hooker. Yeah, that was. What did you guys think of? You guys thought it was
bad.
So, right?
It was bad.
Yeah.
He won clearly, but it was a bad performance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he should have got him out there in the middle rounds, but
yeah, it weren't good.
I wanted to call you up and brag to you that look, Matt, see, oversaturation is good. We had 3 cards.
It's not good.
And all 3 of the cards were good. And then you said that you didn't like the cards. So I was like, well, that just ruined my day. That ruined my phone call. I wanted to brag. See, saturation is good. You know, I didn't like any of the cards. Well, you didn't like the Porter Ugas card sucked, but the main event was good. All right, so you got the main event that was good.
Yeah.
But you didn't like the other 2 cards, the ESPN Plus card, the UK card, and the DAZN card?
The ESPN Plus card was quick, so that was nice.
Yeah, you just had 2 fights, right?
No, we had 3. No, we had the whole card. No, we have the whole card. No, we have the whole card. I don't know. I shouldn't say it's the whole card, but we have like 4 hours, so we get a lot of the fights. I don't know if it's all of the fights, but we get most of them. But relatively, it was a quick show. It was fine. It was entertaining. It's not a great event, you know. Like I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it has great fights on it. You know, same with the DAZN card. Like I thought the Joe Smith and Bivol fight was a really good main event. Other than that, I didn't think it was that great. I thought Hooker was mismatched here. I did think the Kuzma and Duwalko fight was a good matchup, but it just turned out to be such a bad fight. And I could give 2 shits about Shawnee Monahan ever. He should not be on any of my cards that I watch.
Okay, but you didn't think going into that fight that was going to be a blood and guts fight?
I thought it'd be a fun fight. No, I thought it'd be a fun fight. No, I thought it'd be a fun fight, but it's still not a great fight.
No. So what about this? What about Caleb Johnson fighting Joe Smith Jr. next?
I love that fight.
See, that's a good fight.
Oh.
Eddie Hearn said that Bivol is going to take his mandatory next, which is Marcus Brown, which is a good fight. I mean, I think Bivol will win, but that's a pretty decent fight. So I'm saying, what do you put Caleb Johnson versus Joe Smith Jr. on the undercard of that? That's a fun fight.
Yeah. I'm not mad about it. Not mad about it at all. I just have high standards, Gary. I have very high standards.
Yeah, I guess I don't, right? Like, you know, it's like, you know, back in college, it's 3 o'clock, it's last call at the bar. I'm just looking to go home with something.
That is true. That is
something.
Gary, but here's the thing. Gary. Imagine in this scenario, instead of just going to like your college dive bar, you now have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and you decide to go to that dive bar at 3 a.m. That's what oversaturation's like. When you have all the money to spend in the world, but you still go to the dive bar. Still get that 3 a.m. girl. Come on, man. Go to the nice, classy bar. Go to the nice, classy strip club. You know, you got the money to spend. Go to Dubai and go, like, buy the nice hookers. Whatever you do, but you got the money to spend.
There used to be a saying, if you can't get a 10, get 5. I didn't really try.
If you can't get a little bit of Marvin, you know.
No. Gary, you're of course right. Like, if you can't get a 10, of course, you know, your standards have to go down. But the thing is,
just get 2 5s.
This is getting really like misogynistic at this point. But if you have the money, to spend like all these networks do, you can buy yourself some 10s. You can.
Yeah, but you get more 5s.
But you can, and they add up to 10s. So there you go, math.
Yeah, I like this weekend, and then this weekend's coming up too. We got. I mean, me and you are smart enough to realize that Spence versus Garcia is a bust of a fight.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a big event. I mean, people are into it. People are talking about it. Again, I think Spence is going to break him in half.
I think we are so far in the echo chamber, Gary, that I don't know if it's big or not. I really don't know. They have put a ton of marketing dollars behind it. And I don't know if it's big or not. I can't tell.
And I will tell you now, more people went to day one of the horse racing Cheltenham Festival today than will be in that fucking 100,000-seater stadium.
And I will also say this, the pay-per-view, if it is decent, like if it does above 250, I change my tune on this.
250, that's a win.
Yeah, of course.
If it does 250.
Of course, but
it ain't gonna be 250. Why Fury only did 325. This ain't doing 250.
This doesn't do 250.
$75 a pop.
I don't know. I think this does 150.
I think so too.
And
and you want to give me a preliminary guess on Bud Khan?
Oh gosh. If it hits 100, they should be happy.
Can Bud do 2 pay-per-views under 100,000? That would be impressive.
Wouldn't it be shocking?
So, I want to get. This is what the rest of the year at the welterweight division should look like, right? Ugas went to the WBC and requested a rematch. I think he should get it. I think it was controversial enough with the no knockdown that was clearly a knockdown that would have changed the fight.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
No, Gary. No.
There's a massive trend at the minute of people flying to Mauricio Silva.
Yo, hold on, Gary. Are you Italian or Cuban?
Well, you don't think that fight was controversial enough where we should get to see it again? You think that Porter clearly won?
Look, I understand that a lot of fans think that this is a meritocracy. It's not. Ugas, sure, deserves a rematch. Do I want it? No. Does Porter want it? No. Does PBC want it? Probably not. So I doubt it happens. And also, I don't really want it. Like, I don't want to see Porter Ugas again. Give me Earl Spence, Shawn Porter. Give me that fight, please.
Why do you want to hold up the division?
I'm getting to that.
Oh gosh.
Keith Thurman is calling out Manny Pacquiao.
Yes.
That fight's going to happen.
Yes.
Errol Spence needs to stay on pay-per-view. He fights Terrence Crawford on pay-per-view.
That doesn't happen this year.
And Danny Garcia fights Broner.
Wait.
You see, I did all the 8.
No, Gary. No.
And that's
an idiot sandwich.
Gary.
What's wrong with any of those fights? Those are 4 good fights.
They're good fights, but
they're all
how
great.
many of them happen? You said Spence Crawford for a start.
Yo.
What the fuck is up with you, Gary?
There is zero. Yo, I'm telling you this right now, Gary. There is 0 chance we get Spence Crawford this year. 0.
What time is it? Are you drinking this early?
Not even 2%.
No,
chance
0. There is 0%, Gary. You know what, Gary? I'll tell you what's more likely, Gary. Gary, I'll tell you what's more likely. Al Heyman signing a DAZN deal for PBC and bringing Deontay Wilder, Jamal Charlo, and all the guys over. That is 100% more likely than Crawford Spence happening this year.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Give me the names, right? Let's say Spence goes in there and gets a sensational knockout in 5-6 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to go back to fighting on Showtime? That's not going to fly, so you need to get him another pay-per-view fight. Who are you going to give him?
Gary.
Yeah.
When fighters fail in their first pay-per-view, they often don't go back to it. So when Spence Garcia does not do well on pay-per-view, Spence is going back to primetime television. Oh, the audacity. And guess what? You know who else did that? Terrence Crawford. You know who else did that? Triple G. So it's not really the end of the world. So yeah, I think Spence, if he will knock out Garcia in 6 rounds, it'd be some amazing knockout. And then guess what? He's gonna fight Shawn Porter on Fox or Showtime.
You don't think if he fights Porter, it's on pay-per-view?
Unless the pay-per-view is successful, and I don't think that happens.
Get it through your head. Spence isn't a star.
Spence isn't a star.
90 seconds.
Thinking though,
Who are you?
Gary.
With all the money that ESPN and the Zone is throwing around, I mean, Porter versus Spence, to keep him happy, to give him the money that the other guys would offer him. Don't you kind of have to put it on pay-per-view? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have the budget to pay those guys $5 million each. I don't think.
60
right? So
seconds.
The only way they're going to get $5 million each if you put it on pay-per-view. That's what I'm saying. Like, once you go pay-per-view, and there's still more big fights for you, it's hard to go back.
But It does happen, Gary. We have two examples in recent memory.
It happened. Triple G fought one more time on HBO. Other than that, he fought Lemieux on pay-per-view. He fought Kell Brook on pay-per-view.
Kell Brook was not pay-per-view, Gary. Kell Brook was not pay-per-view.
Kell Brook wasn't pay-per-view?
No, man. What are you talking about? That fight was in the UK.
Kell Brook wasn't. That doesn't mean it's not. That was on regular HBO?
Gary. Yes.
Okay. This was a bunch of years ago, man. Sorry if I got that one wrong. Was it really?
Yes.
I just assumed it was on pay-per-view. Okay.
Yes.
10 seconds.
And in fact, Gary, you know what they did?
How many fingers am I holding up?
Yeah, because I was at an HBO event that night at the Forum in LA, right? That was Roman Gonzalez versus Carlos Cuadras. You know what they did? Because the Triple G fight was before it in the UK, they put on the same card as the co-main event to Roman Gonzalez. So, yes, Triple G went from pay-per-view to co-main eventing and fighting in the UK.
On pay-per-view.
On pay-per-view in the UK, but yes, not in the US.
No.
Okay, and then you're right. There's a precedence. And that was a big fight, too. I mean, again, that was a bullshit fight, but it was a big fight. Oh, all right, I guess he's going to fight Porter on, what do you think they get paid? $3 million each?
Yep,
you know
plus back end. Yep.
Yeah. It just seems like, well, why would you do that when Eddie Hearn? You're from Southern California. It was like a couple of years ago when the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, was giving everyone $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you sign there? Right? It's like, so if Eddie Hearn is just throwing out money like Monopoly money, why wouldn't you sign with him? He keeps you busy. He gets you fights, and he pays you more than anyone else is going to pay you. Like, why?
We don't know that.
Spence or Porter.
We don't know that Eddie Hearn's we don't know that Eddie Hearn's going to pay Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, all these guys on PBC more money. And on top of that, Eddie Hearn has been on record saying that he can't offer them what they're getting. So I'm not gonna fall in line with that. On top of it, they are fighting often. What are you talking about? All the welterweights fought in the first quarter this year. All of them. What do you mean they're not active?
Okay.
Danny Garcia fought twice last year. Danny Garcia fought twice last year.
Fought twice last year. How often does Eddie Hearn fight this fight? He fight all the time.
But
they fight 3 times a year.
Gary, do you think Danny Garcia doesn't want to fight? Sorry, I should reframe it. Do you think Danny Garcia actually wants to fight more than 2 times a year? Hold on, Gary. Do you think?
I don't know. He's a weird example.
No. It's not a weird example. The top guys don't fight more than 2 times a year. Does Anthony Joshua fight more than 2 times a year?
Well, hang on.
Does Canelo fight more than 2 times a year?
2000. Canelo, well, he got suspended. He would have fought 3 times, but he got
You don't know that.
He was scheduled to fight.
You don't know that.
He fought. He was.
Do you really think if he had fought Triple G twice last year instead of once, that he would have added an extra fight on top of that?
Against that guy, against Rocky Fielding, why not? Give one to the fans.
But he didn't.
It wasn't like
he fought twice.
Okay.
You want me to keep going down the list of top fighters that only fight twice a year?
No, I know most of them only fight twice a year, but Errol Spence said last year he wanted to fight 3 times a year.
Awesome.
He said that last year. He only fought twice.
Awesome. Guess what? He's a top guy.
So he wanted to fight 3 times a year.
He's a top guy. Top guys don't fight 3 times, 4 times a year. They don't.
Loma doesn't fight 3 times a year. I know this year he didn't because he got hurt, but last year he did. I know Terrence Crawford has fought 3 times in a year in recent memory, at least 3 times in 12 months.
He didn't fight 3 times last year.
No, because they pushed the fight back. They pushed the Horn fight back.
Yeah.
But the year before that, he fought 3 times.
Gary, again, we're talking in circles here. You have yet to bring up one significant fighter that fights more than 2 times a year.
Lomachenko, Tevin Farmer.
Tevin Farmer? Gary, we're heading out. Gary, have a great day.
Tevin Farmer.
No, have a great day, Gary. Have a great day. You just brought up Tevin Farmer as trying to compare him to Anthony Joshua. Who else do we bring up? Canelo. Obviously, all the welterweights like Danny Garcia, Earl Spence, Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter. No, come on, Gary.
To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people.
And again, we just went over this, that Lomachenko did not fight 3 times last year. Moving on. Unrivaled, since you have not been on Skype, I'm just going to move on, and we're going to head out of here today. We've already done a 2-hour show. I'm going to try to do another show later tonight with Fugatti. But yes, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, final thoughts. Let people know where to find you.
Final thoughts. Just don't drink during the day. I think Gary just proved that. Final thoughts. Hopefully strides are being made for Wilder, Joshua down the line soon rather than later. Final thoughts. I thought there was some good fights this weekend. We got good fights coming up this coming weekend. A lot of free agents, a lot of money floating around. Let's see where all these people end up. Find me at UK Rob MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Share the show, hit the thumbs up, usual stuff. 5-star review on the iTunes podcast app. That would be great. Tell me how great I am, how I'm holding it all together here, how I'm, all round great.
McGregor, I know he doesn't like saying that. Unrivaled Box Talking News. It doesn't say you're online. It says I'm online. We could be having a Skype issue. That does happen from time to time. If that's the case, I do apologize. We're just going to move on. We did a 2-hour show. We're going to be back later tonight and tomorrow. Don't worry. We're going to have a UK hour tomorrow and another boxing show. Don't worry, Unrivaled. You're going to get your time in to talk, but we are going to head out. My final thoughts. Fights were all right. Cards were mediocre cards. We're in the era of oversaturation. We're in the era of streaming. We're in so many new paradigms of the sport, and I think everyone's sort of getting acclimated to it, including me, including the media, including the fans, and also the fighters, also like the networks, the promoters. Like everyone's acclimating themselves to a new climate, so to speak. Look at the UK boxing scene and how it's changing in the next 12 months. I think that's going to be a rapidly developing issue. If UK fans have been used to getting big fights, and now all the big fighters are not going to be there, that's going to be an issue. But anyways, have a great night. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit the like button, share the show on your way out. Give that 5-star review on iTunes. You can find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. And also, for all those that want more content today and want to see more shows, we dropped a ton of new podcasts, a ton of new Patreon shows for free. It's right there on our main YouTube page. Go to the Patreon free preview section. Over a dozen full podcasts have been released to you guys. If you guys want more content, go and find them. Have a great night, or day, wherever you are. Stay safe out there. Peace.
What is that song? I believe the Beatles had it. Is all you need is one. Deontay Wilder just needs one shot.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Where is this Burger King?
Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.